It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas and sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas and sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas and sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas and sunrise. Hey.
Good morning, happy Monday to you. I'm Philip Simon. Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
And good morning, I'm Alana Major, filling in for Anastasia Palacios.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome. It's been a long
It
time.
ain't been that long.
It's been a long time,
Just
man.
a short little time, but it's good to be back.
Good to be back. Good to be back. How have you been?
I've been wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yourself?
Been pretty good.
Got
been
on your
pretty
pink
good.
today, one of my favorite colors.
Yeah, thank you. I figured I would,
Sporting it, doing a little thing.
I would, just share the memory one more time.
One more time.
One more time. October was Cancer Awareness Month, and then of
Yes.
course last week we lost my mother-in-law. So I
Yes,
figured I'd
my
just put the
sympathies.
pink just one more time.
One more time.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong
yeah,
with that.
yeah.
Nothing
How was your
wrong with
weekend? What did you do?
I kind of took it with friends. My husband and I just celebrated our wedding anniversary on the
nice.
1st of November.
Nice.
So happy anniversary, honey.
All right.
And that was beautiful, so we
Yeah.
enjoyed that. And
So it was a
we-
football weekend.
We just enjoyed that. We didn't do no football this weekend.
No football?
But go Redskins. How about that?
Wow, no football at all. Yeah. What exactly did you do this? No, okay. But this was a great weekend of football. You had like 1 and 3 in college football, Alabama and LSU, and you had the game of the goats, is that what they called it yesterday, greatest of all time in terms of quarterbacks, Brady and
Are you a fan of
Rodgers.
Brady?
I'm a fan of anybody that's really winning.
Okay, so
Yes.
you don't like LeBron?
LeBron, there were a couple of years I think he was just my man,
Right.
and, but over the weekend, not so much.
I'll be careful with my LeBron comments because next thing you know, we'll be getting emails.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that seems to be. Listen, want to say a happy birthday. I missed it on
Yes.
Friday to Anthony Saunders, Muggy, better known as Muggy, my
Happy
stepfather,
birthday to you.
and my cousin Levine Nixon, and of course, upcoming on the 7th of November, our very
Big
own
time birthday.
Wendell
Well,
Clare.
happy birthday. I would sing, but then I don't think you'd like it.
Yeah,
so
can you believe it? He's turning
I'm not gonna
65.
do that. Don't say the age.
65, 60, and then he's talking about this retirement thing and all that. I'm like, what do you mean? What's retirement? What does that
Are
mean?
you
I
going to
don't know.
box that or are you playing that straight?
Let's just say on the 7th of November, I'll be to work. I'll be working for my money.
Okay, I got you, I got you.
But listen, we've got a great show lined up today. The Department of Statistics is here to talk about the Labor Force Survey. The Salvation Army is also here to talk about their work, a very important organization, of course. And BPL
Yes.
is in the studio, eh?
Yes, yes, yes. We also have the Bahamas Anti-Doping Commission. They're going to be talking about the work they do. And then lovely Long Island, we have the MP for Long Island, Adrian Gibson. He's here to talk about Long
I tell you,
Island.
he's been an ambassador.
And about
boy.
the world-class Long Island
Business Outlook. Yeah.
That's coming on Thursday, this coming Thursday. So we're looking forward to that.
We are looking forward to all of these conversations, and of course, the weather's been pretty good. The timing changed yesterday, so driving
Getting a
up this
little
morning,
cool, little cool.
you truly get to see the sunrise. Listen, we appreciate all of you for waking up so early and joining us
Yes.
here on Bahamas at Sunrise. But we know it's for the G-Man Godfrey Burnside and this weather report.
The
I'm trying.
gallant, gleaming Godfrey Burnside.
Man, I was just gonna lean on him. But man, Godfrey, man, I can't even compete. Listen, first look with weather at sunrise with Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Phil and Lana, and good morning, Bahamas. Just first look at weather sunrise. Before I go there, I'd just like to say a special good morning to all the ladies at the Finance, Ministry of Finance and Revenue this morning. I know they're watching, and so good morning to you guys. First look at weather sunrise feature. High pressure down weather feature across the islands at this time, and give us some pretty good weather for the remainder of the week on the hot side, but on also the dry side. So for the day, a mix of sun and cloud. There's a chance of a few passing showers, high temperature 87 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, a few patchy clouds around. Just a chance of one to late night shower. Your low temperature go down to 74 degrees Fahrenheit. And some region highs and lows across the Caribbean: Barbados 82 and 78, in Jamaica 80 and 70, in Trinidad 84 and 75, and the Turks and Caicos Islands 86 and 76. Across North America, Atlanta 66 and 51, in Raleigh 67 and 49, in Miami 84 and 77, Dallas, Texas 70 and 52, and Toronto, Canada 48 and 45. Friday weather look: lovely Wednesday weather-wise, lots of sunshine, warm temperatures on the dry side. Temperature daytime will be in the upper 80s, at nighttime in the mid to upper 70s. That puts a wrap on your first look at weather sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. The Department of Statistics will be conducting the Labor Force Survey in November, and of course they wish to encourage all households to cooperate with this process so that they can gather as much accurate and valuable information as possible. We're joined once again on Bahamas at Sunrise by the senior statistician of the labor force and the labor force supervisor, Ms. Cipriano Winters. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. I think we underestimate the importance in the work of the Department of Statistics, but just really briefly, just share a little bit about the department and this particular survey this time of year.
Okay. Well, good morning again, and thank you for having me, and good morning to the audience. Well, this time of the year, beginning today, is when the field work for the labor force survey is beginning. So you know that we do the survey twice a year, during the month of May and the month of November.
Any significance to those two particular months?
No, we just
No?
want to
Okay.
make sure that it's done every 6 months.
Okay.
So that we can have an accurate count of the labor force for those, for during the year.
So tell us what's going to be happening. Is it this particular week? It is,
Yes, they start today.
Okay.
Because our reference week was last week. So all of the questions that will be asked, except the income question, will be asked as of the reference week.
Okay.
What were you doing? Because the purpose of the labor force survey is to determine, first of all, the number of persons who are employed and those who are available and looking for work.
Okay.
While we do ask other questions, that is the main thrust of the survey, to determine the economic status of the population who are 15 years of age and older.
And where does this information go once you get it?
Well, the labor force survey now is fully automated, and therefore we are able to produce the information, release the information, that is, in a more timely manner.
Okay.
So once the enumerators go in the field today with their tablets, hopefully by the second week in December we'll have the data released.
Okay.
Because the CAPI eliminates the data entry process.
Okay.
And because of that,
So nobody's writing anymore.
nobody's writing anymore.
And of course that's more secure, I would imagine.
It
Okay.
is,
All
and it eliminates the data entry process, and so it cuts down on the time that we need to actually spend preparing the data to be analyzed.
So what can people expect? Well, firstly, the survey is being conducted on which islands?
Well, all of the constituencies in New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Abaco.
Okay.
Because the month of November, the questionnaire is a smaller one because we don't ask as many questions.
Okay.
So during the month of May, we measure more variables, but for this one, we really just want to get the unemployment rate and the economic status of the country.
So what can people expect in these constituencies? Somebody will come and knock on their door. They will look like,
They're working in teams. They
Okay.
have a group of 4 or 5, a supervisor with 4 enumerators, and they are going in selected households because actually it's a survey and not the census where you go to everyone. So in selected households, they will come and knock on your door. They will have a highly visible vest from the Department of Statistics. They will also have a bag and letters that are signed by the director of the department, the acting director, that is Ms. Wilson. And they will have the results of the survey conducted in May.
Okay.
And so with those identifications,
Indicators,
plus their ID
right,
badge.
with their ID badge, okay.
Yes.
So, and of course, if somebody is still wary of them, they could always just, call the police, right?
No, they can
No, I'm
call and
just kidding.
verify because people, I guess the times that we live in, people,
Yeah, absolutely.
not so open. And so that they can call in at the department and they do all the time to verify that they all are actually in the area
Yeah.
doing.
So which hours will they be operating? What hours can you
Well,
expect?
normally we have to go the times when we find persons at
Yeah,
home.
at
And
home.
so between the hours of 6 and 9, and you find that persons who are unemployed, they may give the enumerators an appointment to come back during the day.
Okay, all
But
right.
that's fine. But in the evening, between the hours of 6 and 9, they are out because we want to get as many persons who are
Right.
involved in the survey to
Right,
answer.
right. I would have read a little bit of the act. I mean, this is something that's not a voluntary process. I mean, you know, obviously if somebody's showing up knocking at your door from the Department of Statistics,
Yes.
you're obligated, mandated actually
Yes,
to,
you
to
are.
let them in and to respond to their questions,
Right.
correct?
Right. Yes, you are correct. The Department of Statistics, we operate under the Statistics Act
Okay.
because we are mandated by the government to, first of all, collect information on the business as well as the population.
Okay.
And so to do that, we have to conduct surveys and censuses. And so it is a law, you're mandated by law to respond
Okay.
and to give accurate information. Because the information that we tabulated, if we get it from you incorrect,
Right,
that is
and-
what we produce.
And of course it impacts everything. I
Yes,
mean, you know, okay.
because
So-
the government and other users need timely and accurate information on which
make
to make informed decisions
decisions,
that will affect us as a country and as a people.
I see some of the questions relate to, you know, discouraged workers versus the unemployed. I think we understand what unemployed is, but just elaborate a little bit on who a discouraged worker would be.
Discouraged worker is someone who may or may not have worked before.
Okay.
But in order to be classified as unemployed, three things must happen. You must be able to work, you must be willing to work, and you must be actively looking for work.
Okay.
And so that discouraged person may have worked before, like I said, but because during the reference week they were not actively looking for work, they're not counted among the unemployed, so therefore they're not a part of the labor force.
Wow.
So unless you actively look for work, that is the divider line between a discouraged worker and an unemployed person.
And so the segment of the population that this survey targets really is anybody post-secondary education?
Well, no,
In
as
terms of
long as you're
ages?
15,
Oh, 15.
15 years of age and older, and those who are employed and unemployed, because 15 is that threshold according
Yeah.
to the International Labour Organization's
Oh, 15.
definition. Yes,
Oh, well,
15 years
I would
old.
imagine that most Bahamian 15 years are still in school.
Yes, but then remember now, as long as you exchange your labor for reward, so
Okay.
so the packing boys after school,
Right.
they work, and so you have people on the weekends, they do work that you get paid for. So as long as you exchange your labor and you get a reward,
Right.
whether it be pay or profit,
Right.
that is considered work, even if you work 1 hour during the reference week.
Okay. Again, so once they're in the house, how long does it actually take to complete the
The
survey?
survey?
Yeah.
Well, we normally not like to set time because it depends on the makeup of your household.
Okay.
You could have 12 persons.
That's true, yeah.
You could have
Very
one.
true.
So we always say that depends on the amount of persons in your household. But the questionnaire in November is not very lengthy
Okay.
because, like I said, it's a smaller version of the one that we will do in May.
All right. Well, Ms. Winters, thank you very much
Thank
for
you for
joining us
having me.
once again on Bahamas at Sunrise. Of course, we wish ourselves the utmost success in the completion of the labor force survey. Watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First insured drivers in New Providence, every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want first response on your side, call 32-FIRST or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. First response can't prevent an accident from happening.
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
My name is Regilio Bethel. My position on board Equinox is mate, relief captain. I must say that during our travels and journeys throughout the Exuma Keys, we've had a few dark or dead spots. Basically, there was no service. They were just dark spots. We would basically be dead ship out in the cold without any communication. And it's been like that for years, and we've gotten used to it. But Life has now provided us with a service which we can stay communicated during our entire voyages. And I've been waiting for Life to bring their service up to more coverage throughout the Bahamas, which they've done in an amazing amount of time. So yeah, I would encourage them all to get that service. It's an awesome service, no interruptions, and it's awesome.
The Salvation Army is an international organization that operates in more than 113 countries. They've been here in the Bahamas since 1931, and here to talk about the important work that they do is Karen Carey, Advisory Board member, Major Clarence Ingram, the Divisional Commander, and Melanie Coakley, the Community Relations and Development Associate. Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you. Thank you.
So in the Bahamas, we're very familiar with the Salvation Army, and of course, many people donate clothing and goods to the Salvation Army on a regular basis. But tell us a little bit more about what they do in the community.
Well, the Salvation Army is very involved with helping people in the community. We teach children after-school programs. Of course, we have the School for the Blind. We have a workshop for the blind. You'll be familiar with the mops in all of our stores. We have a women's emergency shelter for women and children. We do our feeding programs like on a daily basis. We help people with clothing and emergency supplies. And of course, we do hurricane relief and those types of things as well, just to touch on a few things.
Just to touch on a few, and those are all very notable and wonderful things that you do in the community. You mentioned the School for the Blind. Many people may not realize that you work with blind persons in our community, so tell us a little bit more about the School for the Blind.
That's a very unique place. There's, right now, I think there's about 14 students there from age 3 right up through to high school. We take them at a very early age and take them all the way through till they finish high school. They learn sensory, of course, perception, as well as like how to function in a daily environment, and as well they learn all of the subjects that they would learn in a regular school situation. So we have a number of teachers there and teachers' aides, so they get very personalized care and very personalized teaching so that they can learn how the skills that they need and how to live a productive life, shall we say, given their physical challenges.
And they don't even see it as a challenge, because I've had the opportunity to interact with quite a few of them, and they seem not to even know in some instances that they have what we may consider a challenge, but for them it's just something that's a part of their life and they continue. I think that's very notable itself. Your organization has done so much with them, with homeless persons in the community. If you were to determine what a key milestone or achievement would be with all that you've done, what do you think that would be?
Wow, trying to pick one is almost impossible. But like, we've moved, of course, the School for the Blind just a few years ago to a new location, and it is a fantastic location there. And they have all of the facilities that they need right kind of at their fingertips, and we're so proud of that particular piece of our work, shall we say. And just right at this time, we are right in the midst of renovating our women's emergency shelter.
Okay.
And that will be opening within the next couple of weeks.
Very good.
And that's, again, going to be an amazing facility that will be kind of state-of-the-art for helping people that are in need. So it's just awesome things that are happening.
Very good, very good. Mrs. Carey, tell us a little bit about the advisory board and the work that you do.
Well, the advisory board comprises about 12 members, and they're from various prominent individuals throughout the community and in business. And it's led by Chairman Felix Stubbs. And really the board's purpose is to support, guide, give advice, and actively participate in helping the Salvation Army achieve its ideals and and complete its objectives.
Very good.
Yeah.
The event that you all have coming up, the banquet that's going to be honoring, I believe, the Chairman Emeritus. Can you tell me a little bit more about the banquet that's coming up?
Well, the banquet is coming up on November 24th. That's the weekend of Thanksgiving, and yes, it is honoring Madam Chair Judy V.C. Monroe, who has served on the advisory board for more than 37 years.
Wow.
And 21 as chairman. So we just started, the advisory board, just started fitting to honor her on this fundraising occasion for the Salvation Army. And so it's being put on by the advisory board, thanks to their expertise. Mrs. Cindy Williams-Ramming is actually the fundraising chair.
Okay.
And so we are supporting her in reference to doing all the groundwork, but it's going to be a fabulous night at the Malaya on November 24th at 7 p.m. If you've never heard the Salvation Army's band, You're going to be in for a treat.
Okay.
And then, of course, the Royal Bahamas Pop Band will be there. A night of fellowship, a night of, kicking off the festivities of the year, but definitely just knowing that your donation of $225 goes towards the work of the Salvation Army is very key in that night.
Okay, so I've worked on some ball committees with Cindy before, so I can already have an idea of what this is going to be like.
Yes.
So should we just bring our high heels or dancing shoes? Is this a black tie affair? Tell me what should we expect?
Well, of course, you bring your high heels, but bring some flat shoes too.
Tuck them in your purse, huh?
Tuck them in your purse, yes, because it's going to be a fun night. All of the advisory board is going to be there, so you can see the faces behind us. The Army supporting the Army, it's threefold. We don't do it all alone. We have the officers, the employees, the advisory board, and then the community at large that supports us daily. So it's going to be a fun-filled night, and we're looking forward to it.
So where can I buy tickets for this event?
Well, you can get tickets from our office. You can call the office at 2340, so many numbers in my head.
Repeat it for us again.
393-2340 or 393-2745. Or you can speak to any of the advisory board members and they will get in contact with us, and we are delivering tickets, every day based on the person's needs, and we're looking forward to a wonderful night.
And the date again, because I know you said Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes, Thanksgiving weekend, November 24th.
Very good. And if I wanted to donate to the Salvation Army, what's the best way? And I'm talking about more than just clothing, but if I wanted to donate or contribute or volunteer with the Salvation Army, how would you suggest is the best way for me to go about doing that?
Well, we're always plugged into these lovely phones, smartphones, so you can always reach us online on our website, which is www.salvationarmybahamas.org. And once you contact us, you can donate online also.
Really?
You don't have to, yes.
Okay.
You can donate online. You don't have to come into the office physically and donate. You can do it online, or you can call us. We have a lot of persons calling us in reference to picking up, donations and checks, and so there's always a way to reach us. Call us at the office. You may speak to me, and we go from there.
Very good. Well, thank you.
I can also just interject
Sure.
too. Also, donation of time. That's
Yes.
that's as important. And we have many friends in the community that do that, and we are encouraging persons to also do that as well. That's just as valuable.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, all of you, for coming. Best wishes for the event. And we hope to see you again another time on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
you.
We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
You be stretched, me. The true lesson is know thyself. And until you know yourself, you're going to be battling with a lot of stuff. Until I knew I was a caricature artist, my company couldn't start. Until I knew I loved to give rather than to receive, I could not be a mentor.
I am Renbert Mortimer, and this is my UB.
Apply today at www.ub.edu.bs.
Do you want to know more about the scriptures, the early Christian church, its teachings, suffering, other religions, the authenticity of the Bible? The Anglican Theological Institute is for you. Enroll in a 3-year certificate program. Classes are conducted from NASA and Freeport on Saturday mornings. Don't miss a class. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with high-speed internet. Contact us at 603-2481. Visit our Facebook page. Pick up an application form at any Anglican church or at Addington House on Sands Road. The Anglican Theological Institute is for you.
Wait, that's Omar Little from The Wire. You think everyone is Omar from The Wire?
Wow, it's really nice to meet a fan.
It's like he's right here. Are you telling you he's been all type shows and stuff?
And you know, Rev Go Play plays a lot of good movies and TV shows.
Excuse me, can't you see we're watching something else? Rude.
Settle all your pop culture disputes with RevGo Play. Watch, record, and stream all your favorite shows wherever you are. Free for all Rev TV subscribers. Rev, you and us together.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're very pleased to this morning be joined by BATSY, that's B-A-D-C, not B-A-T-S-Y. That's the Bahamas Anti-Doping Commission, which was established under the Anti-Doping Act of 2009 by the government of the Bahamas, and it works to facilitate the control and prevention of doping in sports. We have the executive director, Peter Haven of BATSY, and Christopher Thompson, the singer, doping control coordinator. Good morning. Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Let's bring clarity first and foremost to the term doping and exactly what it means.
Sure. Christopher?
So doping is one of the ways of cheating in sports. There's a wide vast of reasons why people dope, of course, and we just stand in a place to facilitate protecting the sport, making sure that it's fair.
Okay, and this is all sports. I see you have on your shirt there, clean sports, and we're talking about straight across the board, all sports.
All sports within the Bahamas, we basically do anti-doping for.
Okay, in a professional level or amateur, just?
Well, we focus on amateur level, but there are times where we do fall under the professional level once requested.
Right.
But yes, both.
Okay, Petra. So this commission was established how many years ago?
It was established in 2009,
Okay.
so this is now 2018.
Okay.
So next year will be our 10-year anniversary. Yes.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the commission.
So our responsibility is, like Christopher would have alluded to, ensuring that there's doping in no form in any sports.
Okay.
So our main responsibilities are testing and educating. So we test our athletes during competition and out of competition.
Okay.
Then we also educate not only our athletes, but the parents of athletes, medical practitioners, pretty much Bahamians in general.
Okay. I would imagine this is one of those associations, the Bahamas version is tied to an international body as well?
Yes. So our parent company is WADA, which stands for the World Anti-Doping Agency. So essentially they give us our regulations and we follow through with those.
Okay. I mean, rules, man. You're talking about doping and clean sports. And this involves obviously what are some examples of infractions?
So some examples of infractions would be, well, firstly, it will be doping in itself and taking any medical substance or any enhancement that would necessarily give your body a performance enhancement. So that would be the first level of it. But then we also have with tampering with evidence, we also have using equipment that may be something specific to performance. And then we also have an area where sanctions can be imposed based on missed tests. If you fail to be present for a test, then that can lead to a violation.
All right. And in terms of how you work locally with the athletes and the organizations, everybody's registered, I would imagine, if you're competing, or the association's registered.
Yes.
And then what? These tests are just scheduled. Like you said, some of it is random. I mean, what's the process?
So
I mean, what do you do?
What happens is, like I said, we test 2 times, which is in competition and out of competition.
Okay.
So during competition is something like a carifta or a nationals or a swim meet, a track meet, a soccer match, a basketball game. So they would know that testing would happen during that time. We just wouldn't know who would be tested.
Okay, gotcha.
So out of competition is when we show up at your house, we show up at your job, we knock on your door, and we said, hey, you've been selected for testing.
Okay.
So it's 2 different times. So they're both random in the sense that persons don't know that they'll be tested.
Right.
But during competition, you know that at some point there's going to be testing.
Tell you, so in season and out of season, you just have to be so careful.
Yes.
What you're eating, even the medication that you're taking. I mean, it's a serious thing. What happens if you violate the rules? Penalties include?
So typically what would happen if an athlete violates or has a positive test, we do have a process in which they would go through. The first thing is to have the confirmation of the samples, and then that will go towards our disciplinary panel, which is a panel designated to dealing with all of the potential anti-doping rule violations.
Okay.
And if that panel's decision is not pleasing to the athlete, then they can go and they can appeal it to our appeals tribunal.
Okay.
So we have a nice system in place to help the athlete to also protect the sport.
Okay.
And we always include the federation and the athletes, all the stakeholders in the decision-making process. So nothing is done before it's time.
I tell you, you're like those all popular compliance officers.
Pretty much.
But the message.
Compliance is the word. It is definitely the word.
So the message you want to get out there is just clean sports.
Straight across the board.
You know, and
Listen, the Bahamas has some really, really amazing athletes.
Right.
Legendary.
Yes,
And
exactly.
we want to be able to protect the rights of those athletes who participate in sport without doping or without doing anything that goes against the spirit of sport.
Right.
So our job and our duty is to ensure that not only our athletes are protected, but their rights are protected when they go abroad as well. So we not only test them or educate them, we also protect them as well.
Okay.
So our message, like you would have said, is clean sports. So clean sports straight across the board.
And a lot of this, you know, in terms of what's right and what's wrong, comes from the World Anti-Doping.
Yes. So we're just the the Bahamas leg of what everyone does around the world.
You know, is Conch still? I mean, Conch's on
Conch
there?
is fine.
Conch is fine. Okay, where are you guys located? You know, you have a website.
Yes.
Facebook,
So we do have a website, which is www.bahamas, A as in apple, D as in dog, C as in cat.org.
Okay.
We also have a Facebook page, and our office is located at the Betty Kelly Kenning Aquatic Center, right upstairs on the second floor to the left.
Cool, excellent. All right, in the mix of things.
In the mix of things.
All right, Petra, Chris, thank you for joining us on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Batsy.
Yes, Bad C.
B-A-D-C-C. B-A-D.
C.
C. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
New Providence Life Insurance Company wants to be your lifetime insurance partner. Through good times and bad, we are here to light the way. We offer educational savings plans, family plans for medical, dental, and vision, income protection to pay bills if you can't work, and a full set of plans designed for senior adults. New Providence Life, your beacon of security through every season.
Hi, I'm Davrielle and welcome to Rev Tips, where we answer your most important Rev service questions. Today's question is, how do I set up a Rev My account? It's super easy. To create a Rev My account, simply visit www.cablebahamas.com and click the My Account icon. Next, select the Create Account option. Please have a copy of your latest statement on hand. Enter the information as it appears on the statement to the respective areas on the form. When you've finished, click Create Account to continue with the process. Once you've registered your account, you can use your username and password to check your account balance, view past statements, and pay your bill online. And that's your Rev Tip for this week. Thanks for watching, and be sure to join us next time.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise on this beautiful Monday morning. We are ahead 1 hour in time.
Yes, that's working out for me.
Yeah, actually, right? But listen, great show so far.
Great show
Interesting
so far.
conversations. I was just with Batsy. I keep on saying it to get it right. Batsy, the Bahamas Anti-Doping Commission.
Yes.
Clean sports, eh?
Yes,
Clean
that's
sports.
important.
It's very
we
important.
Need that.
Yeah,
We need that.
yeah.
And I was sitting with the Salvation Army.
Oh, good.
So make sure that you're
the
donating.
Salvation Army's been around since like
1931.
1931. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
That's almost as long as you've been around.
Yeah, I know, right? And just.
Don't do it. Don't do it. We're looking forward to our second half. We have the MP for Long Island, Adrian Gibson, in the building for our second half.
PG. We also have BPL. BPL is in the house. Of course, they signed an MOU this past Friday with Shell. So hopefully we're on the path to just transformative costs relative to how we live,
That's important.
you know, the cost of doing business. I mean, it's just crucial to everything that we do.
Yes, yes. So you have Donovan Moxie coming.
We have Donovan Moxie,
Very
and we
good.
should have the CEO as well,
Okay.
Whitney Hasty, joining
Very
us
good.
on Bahamas at sunrise.
Yes,
Yeah.
big time morning.
Yeah, big time morning.
Mhm.
But again, you know, before we get into that, second look at weather at sunrise with
With
Godfrey.
the gracious and good-hearted Godfrey Burnside.
Man, I'm old and Godfrey's young.
Weather at sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Alana. Good morning, Bahamas. And yes, second look at weather at sunrise, trip around the tropics. As we wind down the 2018 tropical cyclone season, the tropics remain quiet and the tropical storm formation expected during the next 5 days. On the local scene, high pressure down by the feature, and that continues through the week with some lovely weather, lots of sunshine, warm temperatures, and basically on the dry side. In your marine forecast, winds today east to southeast at 15 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet over the northwest and central Bahamas, east to the 15-20 knot seas, 4 to 6 feet over the southeastern islands. On Tuesday and Wednesday, those winds will be east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet over the northwest Bahamas, easterly at 15 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet over the central and southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a low tide at 11:55 this morning. Next high tide will be at 5:54 this evening. Low again tomorrow morning at 9 minutes past midnight. Sunset will be at 5:25 this evening. Rises tomorrow morning at 6:20. UV index 7. Your water temperature 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And the moon phase, we're now moving towards the new moon. As we go this week, lots of sunshine, warm temperatures on the dry side. Temperature daytime will be in the upper 80s, at nighttime in the mid to upper 70s. That puts a wrap in your fun look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Alana.
Creating a world-class Long Island is the theme for the Long Island Business Outlook that's coming up this Thursday, November the 8th at Clarencetown Community Center. And here to talk to us about lovely Long Island is the Member of Parliament for Long Island and the Executive Chairman of the Water and Sewage Corporation, Mr. Adrian Gibson. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a
Welcome
pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you.
So we always talking about lovely Long Island. What are the specific challenges that's facing the island at this time?
Well, we have a lot of, quite a number of socio-economic challenges, and they generally stem from the fact that we lack certain infrastructure, water from end to end, which I'm working on now, an airport, which would spur economic development.
Sure.
You know, most cities of the world, they're built around an airport.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have other infrastructural concerns with respect to health, improving the healthcare system on the island, improving the road network on the island and so on. But the two major issues is the lack of the airport, which impacts obviously the tourism and the local and foreign investment side of it, and of course the extension of water. Without utilities in place, people would be less inclined to invest. I was looking at another island the other day, saw a nice piece of property, cheap, but when I recognized that there was no utilities, that was the turn off. So I know the feeling.
Sure.
Yeah.
So in particular about the water issues, how are you going to be addressing that?
Well,
what's your focus?
As it stands, I signed a $5.5 million contract in May. That contract is currently being done by BHM. That includes 2 phases, as far as Lochabar in the south and Thompson Bay in the north. But there's another phase or 2 that we have upcoming. But we're also helping some of the other islands, Crooked Island, Eleuthera, etc. My view in the Bahamas is this: if we truly want to see the Bahamas develop, we must focus on our family islands and getting the infrastructure in those family islands. I think for people to go back home and invest, you would see the country truly reach its true potential.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So that covers the water. You mentioned the airport. Where is this airport going to be? Tell us a little bit about that. Tell me too about banking, which is also very important for persons on the outer islands.
Yes.
How are you looking at those items?
Well, in the case of the airport, I've spoken to the Minister of Works, the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, as well as the Minister of Tourism and Aviation.
Okay.
And the consensus is that next year, The design and planning phase begins.
Good.
We're looking at 8 months to about a year for that phase, and then of course after that the construction. And so whilst I won't want to announce publicly a set date,
Because we'll hold you to it.
oh yes, I'll speak to that later.
Okay.
And I can tell you I'm holding my colleagues to it as well. But I expect some real work to begin next year, early next year.
Very good.
With respect to the banking side of it, to your question on banking, we are unfortunately without a bank. And there are rumors that the last bank that is in Long Island is looking to maybe pull out. And that bank is semi-operational. You can't carry cash deposits, but you can transfer. Unfortunately, the number houses and the utilization of these number houses, whether it's for gambling or transferring money or even putting money in accounts, have greatly hampered family island economies, especially the banking situation. You look at shareholders in Canada and elsewhere, when they look at these islands for them are losses. And added to that, if you are using number houses as opposed to the bank, that causes banks to pull out because they can't make their money. They're a business as well that survive on revenue and profit. If persons are transacting through the number houses, there are no fees for banks, there's no monies left over to get loans, etc. And that's been, unfortunately, the situation in Long Island.
Okay.
I continue to work on trying to resolve the banking issue. Spoke to the Minister of Finance recently about having the Bank of the Bahamas come down, as well as a few other entities like Sun Island Transfers and so on, to see what they can do to assist us in Long Island.
Okay, so it sounds like you're making the necessary steps to get to where we need to be.
Doing my best.
So on Thursday, this coming Thursday, you're going to be in Long Island, Clarencetown Community Center at Business Outlook, and you'll be talking about creating a world-class, heavy words there, world-class Long Island.
Yes.
Can you give us just a little bit of information about some of the points you intend to make during that presentation?
Definitely. I'm going to talk about improvement with respect to infrastructure. I'm going to talk about improvement to society, some of the issues, the ills that we have to address on the island. And I'll leave it there. You'll have to come to see the rest.
So I need to take a flight and come over.
I invite all to come down, Long Islanders in Nassau and Long Islanders, particularly on the island, to come down and see what will be addressed. But certainly we're going to speak to business, the concerns of the business houses on the island as well, and try to offer as much solutions as I could and a view for the future.
Okay, so you just give us a little bit of information there, but that's fine. We'll have to come down and see. So Long Island's been impacted by hurricanes, as we all know. How's the recovery been, and how's Long Island doing at this point?
Well, we have been steadily recovering. However, we have lost a lot of our people due to Hurricane Walk-in. Some persons moved out. It's been a slow and steady recovery. The reality is it greatly hurt the economy. It set Long Island back about 40 years.
Wow.
And so, you're talking about a hurricane that did severe damage. With governmental support, with the infrastructural development, I think that we will creep out of where we are today.
Okay, little by little.
Piece by piece, little by little.
So there's a town hall meeting coming up too by the Small Business Development Center. They're going to be talking to entrepreneurs. Is this activity supposed to encourage business entrepreneurs to get involved, and those who are even considering delving into business there? Will this be the spark that's needed?
I think so. And as a business person myself, that coupled with all the other things that we are doing, I think would inspire business persons and those people wanting to get into business.
Very good.
To be encouraged to enter and to once one knows how to prepare a business plan, how to set up a business, I think that goes a long way, because the average payment really does not know. And so, I welcome that. I'm looking forward to that.
Good.
Yeah.
So, your vision for Long Island. If you could look out on the horizon and you could see what Long Island is to be, tell us what that looks like.
Every time I travel to other islands, like Zuma and Abaco and Eleuthera, I'm jealous. Okay? My vision for Long Island is to see a Long Island where we have the infrastructure, where we have our people return, where we have the economic situation where persons can feel good about Long Island. This is the Long Island that we knew. Long Island has declined from the 90s when I was growing up there. The population has gone down at least about 2,000 or more. The economy is tight. I want to see a Long Island where we have investment and development and our people returning home and feeling confident about Long Island.
I love it. Looking forward to seeing that.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much for joining us.
And I know you're married to a Long Islander.
I sure am,
Yes,
Major.
yes, yes.
I take pride in that.
Yes, definitely.
And let me give a shout out for the Long Island Fair, the comforter lady at the Long Island Fair, and the
Yes.
mutton lady. Yeah.
The best.
On point.
The best.
On point. But thank you so much.
My pleasure.
We look forward to your presentation on Thursday, and all the best to you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
So who really own a Nassau container port?
Boss, that's easy. The government.
I do.
I do. Thank you. I do.
I do. And one day, he will too.
I do. Knock knock.
Here at the Nassau Container Port, we've diversified our ownership to give hardworking Bahamians a piece of the economic pie. And we'll continue to grow so that we can give you a consistent return on your investment. That's our promise.
I'm Jennifer Basden, Group Sales and Marketing Manager for Bahamas Air, and it's my pleasure to invite you to experience Houston. From out-of-the-world excitement at Space Center's Houston, the gateway to NASA's mission control, to the over 10,000 restaurants representing cuisine from more than 70 countries. Houston has it all. Come, experience Houston with direct service on Bahamas Air. For more information on flight and packages, visit bahamasair.com.
The Department of Statistics will carry out its annual labor force survey during the period of November. Enumerators with official identification cards from the department will visit selected households in New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Abaco, and will be calling upon residents to complete the questionnaires honestly and accurately. The information obtained will be handled in the strictest confidence and will be used to maintain essential statistical data on our country.
How are we making Rev work wonders for you? We are doing it together. You told us what you want, and we've heard you. Want faster broadband? How about speeds up to 1 gigabit per second? Want shorter house calls? 2 hours max. We promise. Want to take your entertainment anywhere? Well, your Rev Go Play app is here. Rev, we've heard you. You speak, we listen. Rev, you and us together.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. I'm so very excited this morning. We've got power in the studio. I'm talking about Bahamas Power and Light, two very distinguished gentlemen, the chairman of BPL, Dr. Donovan Moxie, and the chief executive officer, Whitney Hasty. We were just joking in between segments, and I'm saying, listen, there are just like few jobs in life that I probably would not want, and two of them just happen to be in the studio this morning. But guys, that's just me. Congratulations on signing the recent MOU this past Friday with Shell. Tell us a little bit about that and the significance that it has going forward.
Okay, great, excellent. From BPL's perspective, this makes a pretty good move in the right direction strategically in terms of how we buy our power. Okay. The Shell MOU is a document that essentially lays out the framework under which we would do our definitive agreement, or negotiated definitive agreement. And what it is, it's a agreement that lays out how we develop a gas-to-power operation in New Providence to supply about 200 to 220 megawatts of power to New Providence using LNG, which is very, very clean energy for us. It also is the initial step in our entire strategy in how we generate electricity in the Bahamas. We're looking to also, in addition to shifting to cleaner energy with LNG, we're also looking to incorporate solar or renewables, both in New Providence as well as in the Family Islands. And so this is that first step in us transitioning BPL out of the generation business and really focusing on our transmission and distribution as well as our customer service.
Okay, all right. And with me, you know, there's always a lot of noise in the marketplace when it comes to BPL and formerly BEC and the challenges, I mean, just real everyday challenges related to costs in particular. Break it down as simply as possible to those who are listening in terms of, bottom line is costs. How is this agreement going to reduce that challenge in our lives?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, we understand generation is the largest operating cost to any utility, power utility. And so, as the chairman just indicated, the fact that we're looking into into a new agreement through an independent power producer, an IPP.
Okay.
That will yield a PPA, which is a power purchase agreement. That will yield new generation, specifically for New Providence, where the lion's share of the generation for the Bahamas lies. With the new generation, not only will that bring more efficient assets to bear, the efficiency on those assets will use less fuel. The fuel complement that's going to be used is certainly less expensive than the diesel fuel that we use today. So I think what customers are going to see over the cost is not only having more efficient assets, more reliable assets, their power supply will be more stable, but then they'll see the benefit of reduced costs because of the combination of both efficiency in the assets and the lower price fuel.
Okay, and of course, so obviously Shell will take over the construction of this facility, and then I guess the next big question is at what costs? You talk about improving the efficiency of the generation, and then there's obviously the agreements that needs to be made in terms of selling it back to us.
That's correct. That's the power purchase agreement. The way it works is that you engage an independent power producer, and under the 2015 Electricity Act, the Act allows for that. And so Shell becomes that independent power producer, and the good thing about it is that they make the investment in all of the capital infrastructure. And so BPL doesn't commit to any of those investments. And what BPL does is we negotiate the rate at which we will pay for power on a wholesale basis from that particular facility. And then we in turn would go ahead and sell that power back or provide that power to our customers over our transmission and distribution network. So as Mr. Hasty indicated, when you look at trying to maintain a utility by really doing generation, which is very expensive, and you don't really focus on it the way you should, by BPL getting out of that business and allowing Shell to focus on that, again, in negotiating an agreement where we essentially would get some sort of a fixed fee coming to us. So now it's on the IPP or Shell to make sure that they're running efficiently so that they can make a profit given what they're selling electricity to us for.
Over, of course, a period of time.
Yeah, typically about 20 to 25 years is the typical time period for these PPA agreements.
All right, and that hasn't been established yet. This is just the MOU.
Yes, this is just the MOU. So we're still we're going to begin negotiating that, in fact, right away.
Okay. There's been talk about, I guess, in the MOU, marine infrastructure.
Yes.
What does that mean for BPL?
So the LNG that will come to power the gas facility or the regasification facility is going to be coming to the Bahamas via ships. Those ships obviously carrying LNG will have to offload the LNG to shore, and so we're going to need a jetty, typically a jetty or dock facility, so that the ship can actually dock to it and then offload that infrastructure.
You have that now, don't you? Obviously with the fuel that comes to the country? No? Doesn't it come by ship?
Not for the LNG.
Oh, not for the LNG.
We need to build some specific facilities to really support the LNG.
Right. I got a million questions, but this is obviously very, very challenging. You're talking about a complete infrastructure upgrade. Obviously that's going to change, obviously, everything related to structure. What are the next steps? What happens? MOU is signed, what happens next?
Well, even prior to the MOU for the last, let's say, year, we've been working on operational efficiency. One of the things that I think people may understand is that we have not just been good as a power utility to world standards. People would have seen poor quality of service through customer service, poor quality of reliability by power being out. And so what we got to do is we've got to change all of that. So separate and apart from generation, this really looks at the generation side of the house. There's two things that the board, the chair, has put as a focus is generation, transmission and distribution, and our customer service. And I think we've got to work all three of them in tandem. So that when this come to bear, as it's not one then the other then the next. We're working all three in parallel, so that at the end of the day, the customer reaps the benefit of all of this collectively.
Yeah, I think we have to give credit where it's due. From my perspective, I have seen improvement in terms of keeping the lights on. Certainly in years gone by, that was an amazing challenge. So definitely there has been improvement in that regard. But you know, there's a timeline, there's a time frame for this. I would imagine we're talking about years or.
Yeah, what we're looking at here as well is that we hope to have the PPA negotiated by March of next year.
Okay.
And then when you begin construction soon after that, what we're targeting is that to have the plant online by early 2020s. 2022 would be a good target date for us, and that's what we're looking at.
Okay.
The other thing timeline-wise is that our transmission and distribution network, that needs to be upgraded. So we've had internal meetings with the staff and the executives associated with that to go ahead and get those major changes done by the summer of next year, if you will, as well. And so from our perspective, even when you look at what we're doing with renewables, we're looking to begin issuing RFPs by the end of November, early December for our family islands. And in some cases, we're even looking at some renewable energy resources for New Providence as well. So people will see, given in our strategic plan that we're working now, that BPL is really looking at understanding how we transition out of the generation business, how we utilize cleaner energy, how we go ahead and now utilize renewable energy through solar or biomass, and now more importantly, how do we improve our customer service? We know people are paying a premium for electricity here in the Bahamas. The least we could offer is that they have an issue, you call us, a live person answers the phone, and we respond accordingly.
It's less painful to swallow, but I like the points relative to renewables. I'm not sure if that was always, you know, as embraced as it could have been at BC in years gone by. But on that subject, would that also mean that, and I'm not sure if this is under the ERCA Act, but would that also mean that people who are producing renewables, solar, for example, are they able to feed that back into the network as well?
Yeah, so that's a very good point. You know, the company last year through ERCA instituted the small-scale renewable generation, SSRG. And we as a company haven't done a great job in getting that out to the public. That anyone who wants to put on a residential basis or very small commercial basis want to get into solar, they can actually do that. And you simply make application to BPL, it's on our website, and we actually encourage that. You know, we're trying to meet the mandate of the National Energy Policy, which says we want to have 30% renewable by 2030. And so this certainly helps us get there, and that's across the islands of the Bahamas. One of the things we don't want to forget is that outside of what's being done here in New Providence with this MOU, it also has great impacts across the islands of the Bahamas. And so you know, we do have issues, and you know, we recognize that we do have 17 islands in total that we have responsibility for. And so while this MOU is focusing on a large portion of the generation for New Providence, as the chairman just said, it's also going to look at renewables. That's also will encompass a lot of the family islands. And that's going to really help the overall cost to BPL and its consumers in the long run.
All right, well listen, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We've had two of the most important men in the country in the studio this morning with a mammoth task, but certainly transformative in nature to the well-being of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. BPL Chairman Donovan Moxey, Chief Executive Officer Whitney Hasty. We'll be right back.
One thing, two things, blue thing, old things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
World-class success through bold leadership. Hubert Edwards Global presents the second annual Success Summit 2018. Dynamic local and international speakers. Life-changing presentations designed to fuel your success at Super Clubs Breezes on December 1st, 2018. Your investment is only $100, including lunch. Our speakers, Dr. David Burrows, Simone Edwards, Peter Hall, Shivago Lang, Duquesa Dean, Mario Moxey, Kendall Major, Carlos Palacios, Cheryl Bazard, Gowon Bo, Carlos Mackey, Simone Bo, Valentino Monroe, Wellington Hepburn and Rodney Bain. Also, Hubert Edwards, as he shares his personal success journey. Fitness expert Nathan Sweeting from Elite Wellness and Donovan Roll of J Fitness. Hosted by Chavez Brown. For more information, visit our website nlsolutionsbahamas.com. Tickets are available at all Cash and Go locations and online at tickets.cashandgobahamas.com.
Thank you very much for joining us on this edition of Bahamas at Sunrise. Of course, Shelly and those guys are just, it's like always an interview here in the studio.
Oh my gosh.
But listen, thank you so much for sitting in this morning.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure.
Gonna have
Thank
to-
you for having me.
You know, Terrell, she's got you in that garden,
My
man.
God.
You should be in front of the TV on Sunday afternoons.
You know what? We actually should come and bring some of our pumpkin and squash and bananas. Like we grow quite a bit to just show you.
You got a whole farm where that is.
That's Farmer Joe. That's none of your business.
Okay, all right. Listen. Have a wonderful weekend.
Have a
Wendell,
productive week.
again, enjoy your birthday,
Yes,
man.
happy birthday.
No retirement for you. No retirement for you. Have a wonderful week, guys.
Have a great one.